every time United have drawn or lost, Chelsea have done the same thing, or if it's been Chelsea doing that, United would do the same thing. And because of that, teams like Spurs, Everton and Sheffield United have caught up. And now all of a sudden, Jack, I think there's at least 4 teams going, well, actually 5 teams going for top 4 at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, apart from Liverpool this season, nobody really wants to win a game because it just seems to be like you said. Manchester United draw or lose. Chelsea end up doing drawing or losing as well, and everyone seems to be dropping points. Like you said, Sheffield United did well just on the weekend just gone, so they're like slowly sneaking up. Everton now with the new manager of Carlo Ancelotti, who when he was appointed, I thought was a great signing as a manager. I know what he was like when he was managing Chelsea, and I knew that was going to be a great signing for them as a manager. So they're now doing well and they're creeping up, and we're still, Frank Lampard's still talking to us about being the underdogs for top 4, but I think deep down he's really disappointed that he hasn't got any signings across the line in January. We had to keep Olivier Giroud. Lampard didn't actually, I don't think, want him. Giroud didn't really want to stay, but because we haven't signed anybody, we can't sort of just lose numbers. So we had to keep Giroud, which I don't think was really great for both parties because, Giroud isn't getting the game time and Lampard doesn't really rate him. So, I think, we lost out there. I mean, the only good news that we did in January was we signed Reece James to a new contract. Yeah. Which is great to see. I think, he's really improved this season. I mean, at the start of the season, it was more about Mason Mount and Tammy Abraham. And I don't want to say they've gone off the boil a little bit, but, you all have them blips in the season. But I think Reece James has sort of shone in the last couple of months, and, to get him signed to a new deal is good. We've got Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who actually played a under 21s or 23s match the other day. So he's sort of back training with the first team squad as well. So I suppose that's a bonus. But, in terms of Monday night, I'm not sure he's going to be playing. But I think the main issue for our team at the minute is who's going to be playing in goal.
Frank Lampard or John Terry, I don't know.
I think John Terry might come back to batting. Pet Check's in the stand.
Well, he only retired recently, so he's still technically there, isn't he? Well, you mentioned Olivier Giroud before, and actually, funny enough, Frank Lampard had said in a press conference saying how professional he was, saying he worked with him, which is fantastic to see from someone like Giroud. Of course, the guy's very experienced at, let's be honest, he's been at a different number of clubs, so he's used to changing life, you could say, changing his career a little bit in the world of football. But also mentioning the January transfer window, Jack. Yeah. Why haven't Chelsea signed anyone? Because have you got the? Surely you've got the funds.
Well, surely we had a little bit of money come from Real Madrid for a player we sold last season.
Oh, what's his name?
I can't remember what his name was now. He was some Belgian player, I think. He there must be funds for that, and that was the thing that sort of really annoyed me. I know we don't want to make any desperate signings and sort of pay over the top for players, but, when you're sort of not struggling, but you like you said, we're drawing and losing games, we're not winning them anymore. We started the season well, we were doing that, and Lampard said, well, that's not going to last, but, we're going to have issues this season. And, of course, we've had that. But why go through that whole process of saying, we want this ban lifted, and then get the ban lifted and then not sign anybody? We might as well just waited until the summer when it actually, disappeared anyway. So I think that didn't make any sense. But I think if the rumours were true, and I doubt all of them are, but when you've got like Cavani that you could probably get on a free, I know we seem to always buy players when they're like getting to the end of their life, like Samuel Eto'o. There must be more. There must be more at the top of my head. Torres. I'm just trying to think. Nicholas Anelka, I suppose, when he's coming to the end of his career, we always seem to buy like the strikers at the end of their career. And I know like Cavani was mentioned. Dries Mertens, for I think his contract it was only for 5 million or something. We just need a little bit more firepower. Tammy Abraham, I love Tammy Abraham, but sometimes, he just doesn't turn up to a game, and he looks like Bambi on ice sometimes when he's playing around. His feet never seem to be in control. So, I think that's the only player that Frank Lampard's more confident with up front, and we have issues with that. Michy Batshuayi doesn't get much game time. Like I said, Giroud doesn't. So, it's a little bit disappointing that we sort of didn't do anything in January. But, I suppose we've got to live with that now and hope hope that the summer gives us something to improve on. I think what we've had this season in terms of youngsters has been great, but obviously you need that experience to help you along the way as well. I mean, losing Cesc Fabregas last season was I think sort of vital in that, because we're losing the older generation in our dressing room.
Absolutely. You look at this game though, where it could be anyone's result. I mean, I remember ages ago, as a United fan, we'd always go to Stamford Bridge, and let's be honest, we'd get one, or I think to this day we've hardly got a handful of wins at Stamford Bridge since 2002. So it's been a dark place for us United teams over the years, no matter who we've had in our squad, and that features Wayne Rooney, Ronaldo, Tevez, Berbatov, you name it. But this is a weird one, because I'm not that confident where our goals are going to come from, because, okay, we've brought in Bruno Fernandes. He could be a promising player for us. He looked promising against Wolves, but again, I don't know who's going to score. I mean, we've just signed Ighalo, but I keep thinking that's to do with coronavirus and giving that to Liverpool. I'm not sure. Manchester's not that far from Liverpool. It's got to get at the motorway. But I mean, it'll be interesting, because I'm starting to think, Jack, that really this is anyone's game, because I think United will probably start with Ighalo up front, but again, he's trying to get used to the team structure, I guess, and then Fernandes is hoping to set him up, and maybe Martial and Greenwood do their business. But it's not been a good place for Stamford Bridge this season for Chelsea against United. Recently, United have been winning there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think any team coming to Stamford Bridge at the minute, we're seeing that it's not like a fortress, like you said a few years ago. We had a record for, stopping teams from winning there. It went on for ages. I think, was it Sunderland that stopped it? I think under Gus Poyet. All them years ago, we had that really long record of teams not winning there, and nowadays you look at it, it's just become a little bit too easy, and Lampard knows that our away form's better this season than our home one, so that's definitely something that we need to look at. But yeah, in terms of the actual game, I really don't know who's going to win it. I think before that 4-0, was it the last two games before that 4-0 in August were draws? I think it was 1-1 and 2-2. Before that, so I mean, the last few years have been draws. So I mean, to be fair, I'd probably take a draw right now, because I don't know who's going to score. I mean, as long as it's not 0-0, I think that's a bit too boring for the big teams like us. But we saw was it the League Cup? Because you went to the game, didn't you, earlier this season? Was that the League Cup?
Yes, and Rashford scored that absolute blinder.
That free kick. Yeah. I suppose that's what it takes. That's what it takes. I mean, somebody's got to sort of perform and do that. I'm not sure who in our team would do that. I mean, as long as Ross Barkley's not taking them, I'm all right.
Do you think United or Chelsea are going to get that fourth spot? Do you think it's going to go to someone else, or do you think one of them will get it?
Oh, I think Sheffield United Champions League next season.
Really?
No. I mean, wouldn't that be amazing though? But I think I'd like to say, as a fan, I'm trying not to be biased, but I think that we would have enough to sort of get over the line, and I think if we can get to fourth position, that's a good start really for Frank Lampard this season. Not signing anybody. I don't think January was his fault. I think the club just didn't make the signings he wanted. So I think if we could get to May in fourth position to sort of build on that in the summer for signings, I think that would be good. I think we've got what it takes, but I think you have as well. It's just like you said, neither of us really want to win a game.
I can't actually remember what 3 points feels like.
Oh no.
I think it's funny though, because both managers are in that same situation, Lampard and Solskjaer, of Champions League football can really help me in the transfer window. That's how I see it. I think for Chelsea as well, when Lampard wants to get his first set of players in, it's to have the Champions League on the offer, isn't it? You can't go wrong with that, and that definitely attracts players. And maybe you could find a new Eden Hazard or something like that with Chelsea. It's an interesting one. I mean, I'll say this now, Jack. Looking at Chelsea from outside, as a United fan, I honestly think if Chelsea get fourth place, and that's a very successful season under the circumstances of a new manager. With, let's be honest, Lampard, okay, he's got experience with Derby, but he's not had any Premier League experience before. This is arguably the best league in the world. It's the most toughest league in the world. I mean, we're talking at the fact that Leicester are second. It's just crazy how this season is developing. But surely you must look at him and think, top 4, that's it. It's a great season, with or without a trophy.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, we're still in the FA Cup. We've got to play Liverpool, but I'm hoping they're going to put out their youngsters out again. They probably won't, but hopefully they might put out their youngsters, and that bit gets us through the round in terms of the FA Cup. I mean, we're still in the Champions League, but if we go through our fixtures in the next couple of weeks, we've got Tottenham the week after, and then Bayern Munich in the Champions League. So I wouldn't say it's the easiest run in terms of football fixtures, but if you're in these cups and you're in the Premier League and you're fighting in these competitions, you've got to play the big teams. So I think Bayern Munich will be an interesting test in the Champions League. Whether or not we can do anything in it, I'm not too sure. But I mean, it's a difficult run in. Playing Jose Mourinho again, we beat him last time just over Christmas, so he'll want sort of revenge in terms of that. And I think Tottenham are just starting to play a little bit better than they were recently. So who knows what can happen in them. But in terms of this one coming Monday night, I mean, I'd like a nice little 2-1 win over you. Would be lovely.
He said his prediction. Funny enough, I was just going to mention with Bayern Munich. You have the same thing with them. They don't know when to win either at the moment.
We need Drogba.
Of course, in that stadium. Oh, amazing! The Allianz Arena, Chelsea Football Club's second home in football. I must admit, Jack, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I'll don't get me wrong, I'll take a win, but I just don't see us scoring more than 1 goal. I look at Martial and think it's whether or not you turn up. Let's be honest. And can I just say to people out there who say Martial is good, no. If we're talking about someone that is a very, very good player, world class, he should be doing it week in, week out when Rashford is away. Because I always think you look at players like him where Solskjaer's looking at him at the moment, and I reckon between now and when Rashford is back, he'll be assessing him closely, thinking, can I rely on this guy? Because he's not showing it since Rashford has gone, and without Rashford, where are my goals coming from? You can look at Mason Greenwood, but at the same time, he's a young player who's learning, he's probably having a more successful season than Martial in a way. His confidence is there, but he looked like, for example, the Liverpool game the other week, he looked very inexperienced, and against Man City, sadly. But it all depends. I really do think it'd be interesting to see if Agallo starts and what impact he might bring in his debut if he does play.